me begin from here. So welcome to this webinar on how to ask numerical questions in the IIBA certification examinations. My name is Alan Mishra, Principal Trainer and Business Analyst at Adaptive US. I have been teaching IIBA certification courses for almost 8 years now, and about 3,000 plus students have taken the course, of which about 1,500 are now certified business analysts. So when we look at IIBA certifications, there are different types of questions that you will encounter. And one type of questions that you are expected to master would be the numerical questions. So again, thank you for taking an important step towards an awesome BA career. We have seen tremendous results from our students who have completed IIBA certifications. Many of them have found new jobs, better role, much higher salary. So you can read about their stories on our website as well. So in this webinar, we are going to answer very simple questions. It should be easy for you to understand what we are trying to talk. So what are the nature of numerical questions that you will get in the IIBA certification exam? And how do you prepare for them? And we will also try a couple of mock numerical questions. That means we will actually take up 2 or 3 numerical questions and try to answer them during the webinar. And I'm also going to cover a little bit about what kind of resources IIBA provide, not IIBA, Adaptive provides towards IIBA certifications. And I will also be happy to answer any of your queries about IIBA certification exam. And also there is a $50 discount coupon on our question banks, which you will get it at the end of the webinar. So we usually do not sell our question banks separately, but for this particular program, you will be able to get the question banks at a discounted rate. So first question, what are numerical questions and how do they play a role as a business analyst? So a lot of times we actually have to find out value of investments or calculate certain aspect about a particular project. So numerical questions are based on calculations. So there are formulas in BABOK, and we would be using those formulas to calculate certain numbers for ourselves. And this is typically high school level math, so you don't expect advanced mathematics like calculus or integration, differentiation, nothing of that sort. It is usually confined to addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and to percentages as well. So these are basic mathematical operations which most of you would already be pretty familiar. And usually numerical questions come as part of a case question. It's unlikely that you will see them as sort. Obviously, if we are trying to compute certain numbers, it will require you to remember certain simple formulas and also possibly simple statistics, especially if you're going for the examination, which is CBDA. So the CBDA certification is primarily for data analytics professionals, and that's where statistics come into play. Whereas people who are going for the requirements analysis stream, which is the BABOK stream, such as ECBA, CCBA, and CBAP, they are unlikely to see statistical questions, but they will definitely see questions which are number calculations. Okay, so one of the techniques which actually involve good number of formulas to remember is the technique which is financial analysis. And why do we carry out financial analysis? Because anytime we want to make a good investment into anything, like we're trying to buy a new system or we're trying to build a new solution, and there is a good amount of money that the company is going to spend, it is going to carry out some form of financial analysis. And in the financial analysis, one of the key technique is cost benefit analysis, which means you calculate the benefits of any investment and you also calculate costs associated with any investment. So for financial analysis, we start with one number, which is what we call the investment. So investment is typically the amount of money that the company will spend to buy a solution or build a solution. That's what goes towards investment. And in fact, investments have undergone quite a bit of change over the last 20-25 years, because in the past, mostly companies either built large systems or they paid a large amount of money to a company like, say, Oracle or SAP to buy their products. So I have worked with projects which had $400 million in budget. So that's the kind of money companies could spend on IT projects. But those days are kind of not so much prominent today because most software today is available on a recurring model. So you don't have to invest a lot of money to buy a software, but you do spend money in using the software. Like, say, for example, if I take a look at Adaptive, we use a CRM system called HubSpot. I can show you HubSpot. And I think some of you must have seen HubSpot or similar ERP or CRM solutions. So we use HubSpot as our customer relationship management system. And for this, we pay a monthly rental. Okay. So we haven't paid significant money in the beginning to start using the software. I believe there was some kind of a support cost that came, but it wasn't something like millions of dollars. Maybe it's tens, thousands of dollars. That's what we paid initially when we started. And then on a month to month basis, we do pay money to HubSpot. So you can see the exact parallel in this technique as well. So do you pay some money to a company to buy the product, or do you spend money internally to build the product? That's what goes as cost of investment. Then anytime you are trying to adapt a new system, maybe you have to do your data migration and training activities because you may already have data in your existing system which needs to go into the new system. That's what we call it as cost of transition. And when we combine both of them, we call it as cost of change. So these are definitions that you should remember. What is cost of investment? What is cost of transition? What is cost of change? Simple formulas, but you need to remember. Then the cost of usage is interesting because it is per period. So maybe like I showed you HubSpot, where we spend money on a monthly basis. You may have an annual maintenance contract. You may have an infrastructure cost that goes into maintaining the solution. So that's what goes into cost of usage. And when you add cost of change with cost of usage, then you get a number which is called total cost of ownership. So TCO is equal to cost of change plus cost of usage. I trust these formulas you can all remember. Then we come to something called benefits. And obviously, any project that we do will provide us benefits over a period of time. And we calculate the total benefit by adding these benefits over the years. And then we get a term called net benefit, which is our total benefit minus total cost. So obviously, any project to be viable or successful, net benefit must be greater than zero. Then we come to return on investment. That's a term that you will hear quite a lot, typically abbreviated as ROI and calculated as a percentage. And the formula is net benefits into 100 divided by cost of investment. So that's how you compute ROI percentage. Then there is also a term that we come across called payback period. And this is basically the time taken by any investment to recover the cost of change. So if we spend, say, $2 million on a project and we are recovering 500K per year, our payback period would be 4 years. So 2 million divided by 0.5 million, that will give us 4 years. So this is how you can compute all these numbers. And typically remember, if a project gives us a higher ROI, it is always considered as a better project compared to a project which gives us low ROI. So ROI also can be used as a determinant factor for deciding whether to go for project A or go for project B. Then we also need to remember that how do we compute benefits for any project? So typically it could be expected dollar savings. So by doing a project, you are able to save costs, or you could be able to earn additional revenue, or there is a cost, or there is a savings due to reduced errors. On the other side, you also have to compute the cost factors, which could be implementation cost, transition cost, or maintenance cost, like I showed in the previous slide. So these are the numbers that we need to calculate. Then few things that we should remember as a business analyst, and we should be able to compute them as well. So there is a concept called variable cost, which means every time we produce one extra output, the money that we spend or the cost incurred towards producing one additional unit. So that's what we call it as variable cost. Then fixed cost. Typically, every system has costs which are independent of number of units that you produce. So that's what we call it as fixed cost. Then there's a term called gross margin, which is your net revenue, which is revenue minus returns minus variable cost. Okay. And then there is a term called net margin, which is net revenue minus variable cost minus fixed cost allocation. I missed this word. It's an important thing. So fixed cost allocation means suppose you are producing say 100,000 units and you have say $5 million as fixed cost. So every unit produced gets $50 towards fixed cost allocation. So it's possible that your net margin is negative because fixed cost is something that you can't control, but your gross margin should not be negative. Anytime you do a project, if you're getting a revenue less than variable cost, it's probably not a good project to go after. Then you will encounter another kind of calculation, which is what we call variance calculation. So, what is variance? Variance is a simple formula which is actual value minus planned value into 100 divided by planned value. So, that's what you compute variance. And typically, we allow say 10% variances to be acceptable range because prediction and actual can always be different. But if you find the range to be a little bit outside the tolerance that you have set, you should investigate why your performance is below target. Because if the performance is below target, if your performance is above target, it's pretty good. There's nothing wrong. So, like I have computed our revenue variance for a particular year, which happened to be minus 12%, which is beyond 10% range. And we did have a problem with our website, and that was possibly the reason why we had a lower revenue compared to our target. Then we come to another calculation method, which is called the weighted scores. And the weighted scores are very important because it gets used in many techniques. Oh, one second, one second. Okay, let me. Sorry, folks. Okay. I now I think you should be able to view my screen completely. My apologies. I will anyway share the deck with you. Don't worry so much. So I will do that as well. So coming back, I was talking about weighted scores, and this is a very important formula because it gets used in many techniques like decision analysis, balance scorecard, risk analysis. It gets used in multiple techniques, and that's why it's very, very popular. Or you must make yourself truly familiar with this calculation. And how do we calculate weighted score? So the formula is very simple. I'm going to copy this formula back into the previous sheet, and maybe I can copy it again here. So it's actually not a very complicated formula. So many of you might have seen this formula, which we call sigma fi xi. That's how you would have seen this formula. Still don't see my screen. Oh, okay. Sorry, sorry. Now I think you should be able to see. Are you folks able to see my desktop screen now? I'm so sorry. I think maybe I did not enable that display. Okay. Let me ping my other colleague who reported that she can't see my screen. Uh, Let me just ping her and ask. One second, folks. Hopefully, it should be visible now. Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay, so back to our topic, and I was talking about this particular formula. So keep this formula written down somewhere. Um, it will be very helpful for many techniques. So I'll start with the technique which is decision analysis. And for example, I have just put one decision analysis example of looking for the right LMS for adaptive. So we were looking at an homegrown tool called Succeed. Then there were two external LMSs that we considered, one called Teachable and one called Thinkific. And then you can see here we have put some criterion on the first column, and then we have put a criticality scale. So this is your criticality scale appearing here. And then for each option, we are putting a performance rating. So this formula, actually, if you go to Excel, you will find a formula called sum product. So if you're using Excel, you will find this formula called sum product, which you can use to compute this formula. So if, as I showed here, so I have computed the sum product of each option. So this option happens to be 58, this option happens to be 76, and this is giving us 80. So obviously it means we are likely to go ahead with Thinkific as the right platform for our learning management system requirement. So decision analysis you can carry out for any situation. So you may be asked questions on this table itself, saying, say for example, among the parameters, which parameters have been given higher weightage? It's obviously meeting functional requirements, user experience, and futuristic features have been given a higher weightage compared to cost or customization ability. Then I also use this technique in a slightly different way, which is to calculate ratios. So you should also be able to compute ratios for different numbers and then use those ratios to define or decide on something. Like, say, for example, I have used the ratios for a process analysis situation. and there are many tasks that have been listed, and I have added three columns here: value added, cost added, and time added. And the value index is essentially value added by cost added, so it's an index that I have computed. Similarly, speed index I have computed by adding value added divided by time added. So if you look at this particular data, you can make out there are definitely tasks which is impeding our speed. Like, say, for example, if you take a look at task number 4, hmm, seems to have a very low speed index. So if you are trying to improve your speed of the process, maybe focus on task 4 and focus on task 12, because these two tasks seem to have very low speed index. Otherwise, if you're trying to improve value, okay, then you can see tasks which have lower value index. Like, say, task 1 seems to have a lower value index. Similarly, task 6 seems to have a lower value index. So maybe this one I would work on if I'm trying to improve value of the process. Okay. So this is something that you will encounter plenty number of cases where you will be asked to calculate some ratio. Where are you spending time? Where are you spending money? And how do you optimize or decide what to do with those tasks? This is actually pretty much a standard part of any business analysis exercise. Then we come to balanced scorecard. And in the balanced scorecard, we start finding an index which is normalized. Like, say, for example, if you see here, these are absolute numbers. Sometimes you may decide to divide this with sum of performance rating.
You may need to go back to the old slides where you did not share the screen.
You cannot do it now. Sum of, say, we'll take criticality scale. Criticalities. So we're basically trying to find out something which will go below 100. The reason why we are trying to go something below 100 is comparison becomes easier, no? So like, say, for example, we say, okay, someone scored 78% in the examination, somebody scored 97% in the examination. Then in general we would infer that the second person who scored 97% scored higher than one who scored 78%. Instead of that, if we use numbers which are absolute numbers, comparison can be difficult, because maybe somebody scored 300 on a test of 500 and somebody scored 280 on a test of 400. So the absolute number is lower, but if you calculate the percentage, you will get a better number. And that's why we have used a similar concept in balanced scorecard. It's very similar to decision analysis, if you remember. Again, we have the weight and we have the rating, and we are doing the sum product, but we are also dividing it by total weight. Okay. Coming down, the exact same formula also can be used for risk analysis, but in this case, our parameters become slightly different. Here it becomes impact or consequence of a risk and the probability of that risk happening. So you multiply impact into probability and you get a risk number. And then you total it up and then you get the total risk for the project. And in general, we also try to take decisions based on risk number itself. Like in this case, if you observe, this particular risk and this particular risk are high, and we may decide, or maybe even this risk is quite high. And whenever the risk number exceeds certain threshold, maybe you put a threshold of 8, I'm giving a random number, you can decide whatever is appropriate for your context, and then you can say any risk which is exceeding the threshold would require some action by the project team. These are actually some of the risks that I encountered as a business analyst, so I have put them here. Okay. Then we also would encounter different metrics and KPIs. And metrics and KPIs can be very helpful in terms of your profitability margins or cash position. All kinds of metrics can be computed, and you may be asked questions about the performance of those units. Okay. Then moving a little bit away from the uh, regular numbers that we talked, if you are appearing for CBDA, please be comfortable in calculating mean, median, mode, range, quartiles, and also focus on interpreting various types of charts. So that is something which will be expected if you are going for CBDA. I trust these are very simple mathematics. Mean is add the numbers, divide by the number of units that you are counting. Median is the mid value. If you order them together, mode is the most frequently repeating number. Range is the highest value minus the lowest value. So those kind of things you can compute. Not very complicated one. So now let's try doing one or two practice questions based on this. Let me see. Okay. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go to Thinkific and pull up a couple of questions from Thinkific, which is our learning management system. So I'm going to sign out from the admin account and I'm going to log in as a student. You in fact can create a free account here and you will be able to get good number of questions for CCBA, CBDA, CBAP. So you will get plenty of good questions here itself. Okay, then let me go down here. And if I come down, hello and welcome to. So I'm going to go down to workshop materials. I think I should be able to find them here. Like there is a file called example BA numericals, which is what I use to present you in the PPT. But I'm going to take something from the financial analysis case. So let me download this. Okay. So in this particular Excel workbook, what I have done is the formulas that I showed you, I also have mentioned them here because it will be helpful for anyone to kind of keep these formulas in mind and then use them. And of course, you can see here there are some numbers which are a little bit harder to compute without Excel or some other tool. So we have kept it out of the calculation mechanism, especially computing present value or net present value. These are things which are a little hard to do unless you have Excel in front of you. So usually you will not get questions on them, although this is there in BABOK. So let's take a look at the case, maybe case 2 I will take, not case 2, case 3. This is a good case to take. And we will try to solve this case. Okay, so I'm going to read out the question for you so that, or you can take a screenshot of this as well, just to keep it in front of you. So the case is about a company named NYCC, or rather NPCC, which is a player in the used car industry, and it helps customers sell their old cars. And as part of their services, it also offers some additional warranty to buyers so that the buyers feel confident about the product. Then, how does NPCC make money? They charge a fixed fee plus a commission on the sale price of the car. And it's, of course, right now present in only one state, and they're trying to expand their business. and they're currently doing 200 sale per month, and they have a fixed fee per car is $200 and a commission of 10%, and they are selling each car at an average price of $8,000. Now they are trying to build a new system which will help them to sell more units. So this particular project will help them to have wider customer base and sell more units. So for that, and they're expecting once this project is done, their sales volume will go up by 50%. The spend on the project is $2 million to develop and 200K per year to maintain. And we are expecting a lifetime of 5 years. So that means whatever calculations we do it over a 5 year period. And you are the business analyst for the project. Okay. So the first question, of course, in any cost benefit analysis is to find out how much money is the project going to make for the company. And we have four choices: $6 million, $4 million, $12 million, and $15 million. So if anyone has been able to calculate this number, please put it in the chat window. Then we will take a look and see is it the number that you should be looking at. Okay, so I'm going to freeze the pane here. Okay, so as I complete question one, I can go to question two. And what I'm also going to do in my screen share, I'm going to change it slightly. I'm going to show you the Excel file and then window. Yeah, I think this is the best window for you to see for the project time being. Are you able to read the Excel question clearly? Yes or no? Let me see if I am able to see some response from you guys. 1 second. Kruti, are you able to see the Excel? No, this one is the right one. Okay. I think maybe Okay, I think maybe I got one answer which is correct. So I will do one thing. I will share this Excel with you as well. But I will also show you how Jonas actually came up with the answer and how you can come up with the answer as well. So if you see here, this is how you can approach the problem. Okay. I trust if the Excel is visible, well and good. If not, I'm just explaining it by word and you can follow me from the description. One, we already are selling 200 units, and the case suggests that we can sell 50% more, which means we can sell 100 units more um, per month. And we also know from the case that there is a fixed fee of $200 and a 10% commission on $8,000. So that put together gives us $1,000 per unit of sale. Okay. So obviously, if you multiply 100 into 1,000, you get $0.1 million per month as additional revenue. Then, if you compute it over a year, you get $1.2 million. And then, of course, since we have been given a 5 year duration, we will make $6 million over 5 years. So, this is how you can compute the revenue, or if it is a case of cost reduction, you also have to calculate how the cost is reduced by performing certain project. Then, as given in the case, we have a $2 million cost to develop the
Share your
solution.
screen.
Huh?
Please share your screen.
I am sharing.
We are only seeing you. We're not
Ah,
seeing.
okay, entire screen. Let me do this one. Now everything is on. There's nothing which I need to do anything. It is capturing my audio. 1 second. 1 second, folks. Let me see if there's something which is stopping the audio. Settings. Back? Ah, okay. Sorry. I think there's some audio issue. I trust you guys are back. And I was explaining the revenue, then I explained the cost. I was up to net benefit. Okay. Then was a question on payback period. And as you can see here, um, we are making 1.2 million extra money in a year through the additional sales, but of that, 0.2 million is going away in maintenance. So this is what we recover per year, which is essentially your additional revenue minus maintenance cost or usage cost. That happens to be $1 million. And since we spent $2 million in the beginning, we divide $2 million in spend to $1 million recovery per year. That gives us 2 years as our payback period. Coming to ROI, ROI is again, as we say, so it's 3 million in net benefits divided by cost of change, which is 2 million. That means you get 150% as ROI, which is very high. If you actually get this kind of ROI, you are truly lucky. Even if you get 30%, 40%, it's still pretty good. Okay, so this is one example that I wanted to show you. Then I will also show you another example, which is a bit more on the ratio front. Let me show you. So these are some of the new cases that I'm writing for 2024. So I'm going to share one of them with you, which is an analysis of financial statements. Okay. And of course, there are questions based on uh, this analysis. Okay, so you can observe these numbers. So this is 2020, 2019, year 2019. This is year 2020. So per year we are changing. This is the sales that the company is making in million USD. There's a term called cost of goods sold, which means the material used to produce the items. So this is our cost of goods sold. And then there is a sales and marketing expense, and there is a net profit, which is your sales minus cost of goods sold minus sales and marketing. So that gives us the net profit. And let me see if I have the answers here. So this is what I have put here. But I have the answers also here, so which I cannot show. So I will not show this particular case because it has answers. But I can go back to Thinkific again and pick up another case as well. So let's see this one. But this one may be a little long case. Let me see if I can complete this for you. This is a little bit complicated one, too much complicated for the case time available with us. But let's take a look at this one, which is on a technique called value stream mapping, which some of you may already know. Okay. And if you see here, there's of course a lot of writing that comes with a case, all of you know, but the crux is here. Okay. So this is the data that you need to refer when we are solving the problem. And if you see here, there is a manufacturing or production process where certain item is being processed for this much time and it's waiting for this much time, which is called the non-value adding time. And then suppose I give you this particular one and I ask you to compute what percentage of time is productive time in the overall process. Okay, so the first column is productive, the second column is non-productive. So can anyone compute percentage of time that is productive in the overall process? It shouldn't be very hard. So what we need to do, we need to compute. See, observe, there are two processes that we're talking about. One, we are talking about the production process, and one, we are talking about the overall process. This question is about the overall process. So we have to compute the entire time spent in production, overall process, productive time, and non-productive time. So if I just take a look, 2 plus 36 is 38, plus 6 is 44, plus 5 is 49, plus 20 is 69. So you get 69 as your productive time. On the other side, you have 48 plus 1, 50, 52, then 26, 78, plus 27, 95, 95 plus 168, that will make it, no, no, I think 78 plus 27, that will be 105. 105 plus 168, that will be 273. So if you compute the ratio, it's 70 approximately in one side, and 280 approximately on the other side. So our production time is likely to be 25%, the productive time. So you will get access to a simple calculator in the examination, and you can use that simple calculator to compute these kind of percentages, ratios when you encounter such questions. You will get many more questions in the question bank when you either access it or start using it. Okay, so coming back a little bit about adaptive, which I trust all of you know. So I always believe, and we have seen this hundreds of times, when you are trained, you have much higher confidence at work. You also get a better salary benefit if you apply for a new job, and even within the same company, you can ask for a higher pay when you are far more competent. So this is something that we had done a survey for our past students, and indeed it was very great results. And I think we should carry out another survey maybe in February of 2024 just to see how our courses are impacting our students' lives. Although many students do share their stories, but not all of them. Some of them do share, some of them don't share as well. This is just a page that we created to indicate what students have achieved over a period of time. This, I believe all of you know, we do provide great quality content. All of us at Adaptive who train you are truly part of IIBA ecosystem. We have been associated with IIBA for a very long time, all of us. And we also teach this course very frequently. So usually each of our faculty members at least conducts 8 to 10 workshops in a year. So that way we keep ourselves pretty much in touch with whatever is happening on ground. And you also know that we have amazing guarantee, which is usually not provided by any other provider. So we do provide something called a 100% success guarantee, guarantee to run, and a guarantee for money back. So as we speak, we are actually three sort of 1700. I'm hoping this week we will probably become 1700 IIBA certification mark. I am just skipping this slide, too much text. Anyway, I will share this slide with you as well. And there are plenty of feedback on us. You can always take a look. So these are the other faculty members that you will meet in case you decide to get trained with us. Laura was the chairperson for BABOK writing team, both V2 and V3. Victoria is actually currently on the board of IIBA. Earlier, she was regional director at IIBA Europe. Tom is again a very senior business analyst, and Tom has completed 5 of IIBA certifications. Laura is again very actively involved with IIBA and also has been recipient of about 5 IIBA certifications. So these are the links that I would request you to keep note of. I believe we also have a link for CBDA as well, which I did not mention it here, and it would be bit.ly CBDA-QB. So it's easy to remember. It's not that hard. It's just that please write it down. Whichever question bank, if you wish to buy, you can go to this link. So bit.ly, the standard name, -QB. And if it doesn't work for some reason, please let us know. We would definitely share them. Maybe I will try them out in front of you so that we make sure that these links are working. So this is ECBA question bank. Yeah, it does go. And you do have a discount code which you can use, which is here. So I'm going to put this discount code on this side as well. So that gives you a $50 off on the question bank. So I checked the ECBA one for you, and let me check the remaining ones for you as well, so that I make sure that it works. So this is our ECBA questions page. This is CCBA question page, seems to be working. Then let me go to CBAP as well. CBAP, CBAP question bank. I'm glad we have a feature like Bitly that makes it a lot easier. CBAP is also working. And let me put the last one, which is CBDA. CBDA question bank. If you are interested in any other question bank, we do have them as well. So if any one of you are interested in cybersecurity or agile analysis or CPOA, do let us know. We will direct you to the right link. I think we haven't created the short forms, short links, but we will create them and give it to you. So do take a note of this particular slide, and do take a note of the discount code that you can claim. Okay. And this is only for 1 week. So after 1 week, we are going to remove this discount code. Okay. That's about it. So I trust I would have got some messages on platform. Let me see. I got some answers. Definitely will share the recording. Maybe there was some mistake. We did have some problem with Restream last time, so we couldn't do it well. Now at least this time it worked. Okay. Is there any question that you would like to ask me on the content that we did? It is getting recorded, so nothing to worry. We will get the recording in few minutes time, and then we will put it up on our LinkedIn page. So you can download or see it from there. Okay. So thank you all for joining us today, and I wish all of you good luck with your certification attempt. I may not see many of you in this year again, so let me wish you a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And I am hoping that all of us would have a much brighter 2024. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye bye.